Hi guys, so it's July. It's a beautiful hot July day today, and I thought I'd do a little garden tour. I'm not gonna do the whole garden and the food forests and everything, but I just wanted to focus on the actual vegetable garden today. So everything is growing really well. Been staying on top of weeding, and I've had a lot of success with this new mulching method that I've tried this year. This is a piece of contractor's paper. It's just coming up, but I dumped 6 or so inches of wood chips on top of it, and I've got a pretty clear row right here, and it's going to be good for walking through. So last year it was overrun by weeds, and this year it's actually holding its own pretty well. So I'm probably going to do this again. Just wanted to share that with you guys because a clear walking path is very important in a garden. It's all fun and games until you can't get through and pick your tomatoes. So we've got the peas that have dried up. I've got to come through and just harvest some of the seeds that are left over in these pods, which I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna try to take down what I can. I do try to wait until it gets all dry like this because it's easier to take out of the ground and not mess with the netting that it's supporting, the vines are supporting, or vice versa, that are supporting the vines. So going through the garden, I've got the beans that have kind of decided to take over this fence. I'm just gonna feed them through to encourage that because they're looking really good. And you may notice that there's dill absolutely everywhere, but I leave it around because it's really good for pollinators. As you can see, that there's lots of bugs circling around here. So I want them in the garden and I use it, and then I harvest the seeds. Here we've got a lot of the bean flowers. That's all future beans, and they're just growing really well. What I like to do is after our peas are done for the year, I'll feed cucumber vines up the same trellis. So here we've got a cucumber flower, the future cucumber growing right here, and it's just going up the trellis, waiting for the peas to be really done. So that's really nice. You can see all these pollinators just circling around, like there's honeybees galore. This guy working hard right here. I like to plant a lot of different things, as you can see. Got some celery growing here. Celery likes a little bit of a shady spot, and really everything's kind of growing wildly and on top of each other, but that's just my style. Got onions. That's a carrot right here. This one didn't turn out too well, but I'll pull it because it's not really going to give us anything. There's a few more. This one looks pretty promising though. There we go. These carrots were honestly just an afterthought, but I get this much of a carrot, and I could just eat it out of the dirt, just like this. That is so sweet. That is really good. This right here is one of the onions that we planted earlier this year. It's just taking its time growing. I'm growing in the jungle here. Got peppers. I'm gonna have to pluck some of these green ones to encourage the plant to put out more flowers. But this looks like just solely a dill garden here, but it really is not. There's so much more going on in here. If you look close, you'll see that there's lots of green peppers in here. Lots of green peppers in here. This is almost going to seed, so pretty soon I'm going to pull this head and dry it and save some seeds for next year. More green peppers. These are shepherd peppers. They're one of my favorite varieties to grow. And if you look over here, We have got marigolds. I try to deadhead them, which means take off the flowers that have already bloomed, and I throw them because I hope that they'll self-seed themselves for next year. It helps encourage the plant to put out new flowers because it doesn't think that it made its seeds for the year, but the seeds are actually located right in here. And right in this head are tons of seeds, dozens of seeds that honestly can go right here, just get covered up. Did some pruning earlier today, which is why there are all these leaves here, but I'll prune them and I'll just drop them by the plant, and it helps act as a mulch. Got my eggplants growing, nice little row here. Pretty happy with how they're turning out. I love growing eggplants. I love growing eggplants almost more than I love eating eggplants. I do love making baba ganoush, which is why I grow it, but it's just such a fun, pretty plant to grow. And as we're going through here, you can see this little cove of marigolds inside the pepper plants. This little pepper plant castle with a little marigold cove in there. Got lots of different kinds. And honestly, even though this place really seems to be overrun by dill, the peppers don't mind it. There's lots of pollinators. If you look still, you'll see so many bugs flying around. They're flying, they're pollinating, they're taking all of this pollen. God, I wish I could have honeybees to harness all this power, but for right now, the service that these pollinators are bringing to me are pollinating these flowers. As you can see, a pollinator in there, whatever that is. They'll pollinate the flowers and make more peppers. So I welcome all of these crazy weeds that overtake the garden. And I call them weeds just because I didn't really plant them here. They just pop up every year on their own. And I do love dill, so I will gather as much of it as possible and try to harvest it, freeze it, and save it through the year. And then after these come down, in honestly a couple of weeks, these pepper plants that have been nicely shaded and protected from the sun will really come in and ripen a lot of this fruit and shine through. Behind me, and I'm just sitting in the garden here, behind me I've got even more going on. This is spaghetti squash. I decided to do spaghetti squash this year. Lots of flowers. Most of it seems to be male flowers at the moment, but just gonna have to give it some more nutrients and hopefully get some more females. Here we've got our cherry tomatoes that I fed up the fence this year, and I kind of forget about these guys sometimes just because they're really out of my way, but they really don't seem to mind if humans don't interact with them all too much. The best thing that I like to do with these guys, to be completely honest, the best thing that I like to do with my tomatoes is eat them. So I will grab these delicious little tomatoes, eat them like candy, because this really is like candy. This is sweetie. The sweetie variety of cherry tomato is my favorite. Oh God, they are so good. Just wipe them off on your shirt, pop them in your mouth. All right, let's get up and move further toward the garden. This is my peach tree, by the way. This guy just lives on the edge of my garden, and fortunately we had a curculio issue this year. I seem to have lost the peaches that were on here, which I'm pretty sad about, but you know, you learn. It's one thing with gardening and farming is that you just never stop making mistakes and learning from them. I did purchase some Surround WP. It's a natural, well, it's processed, but it's still organic and natural. It's a processed kale and clay that was spun through a centrifuge, and I'm gonna wet it, it's powder, and spray it over all of my trees and the dirt, and hopefully that helps to curtail the curculio issue. I'm gonna do that in August because that's when they're active and they come out and they start wreaking havoc, and then also in the spring. But I am really happy about this plum tree though, because this is a peach leaf curl resistant variety. There are no curling leaves, so that is a issue that we get in this wet, swampy climate. And I am very happy that this variety, neither this variety nor the variety that I have growing on the other side of the greenhouse, straight ahead, right there, neither of them have it. And every time we've grown peach trees in the past, we've ended up cutting them down due to the peach leaf curl just curling every single one of the leaves and making them just unbearable. Guys, you gotta see all these pollinators. My goodness, there's a honeybee right there. I'm just gonna see if I can hold this camera still for a second so you can see all this movement. There's so much going on. And I know I said I wouldn't cover my fruit trees, but since I'm here, I've got my crazy plums that are really good, but also still affected by the curculio that leaves that little mark there. They're not all bad. I'm taking a bite out of it right now. See? There's still some good flesh on this, but I know there's gonna be a worm in there. This blanket, by the way, is to catch them so that I can throw them out and not let the curculio go back into the ground to do this again.